U.S. Police, wakey, wakey.
I hate being black. We are so ignorant.
Did I just hear you say that this is because you're black?
Yes, sir.
No.
Who's in the
There we go. These gripping police encounters reveal the raw intersection of personal crises and law enforcement. What happens when police find a woman asleep behind a broken fence on private property, disoriented and reeking of alcohol, only for her to nearly bite an officer in a haze of confusion? On November 8, 2023, Key West police officers responded to a report of a woman found asleep in the grass behind a fence on private property. The woman appeared disoriented and unable to explain how she had ended up there. When questioned, she stated that the fence was already broken and that she had to squeeze through to access the area, expressing confusion about her situation.
Police! U.S. Police, wake up! Police! 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 Don't break the gas line, police! Let's go, get up!
The officers, after confirming she was alive, instructed her to wake up and identify themselves as Key West Police. They repeatedly urged her to regain consciousness, noting her sluggish and incoherent responses. They directed her to crawl out from behind the fence and sit up, emphasizing the need for compliance.
You got a problem listening today. Police! Wakey, wakey, wakey! Come on, sit up! Let's go, get out of here! Are you awake? Key West Police, wake up!
Stop.
Wake up! Wake up! Wake up! Are you awake? Now come on out, crawl out. Wakey, wakey, wakey! Wakey, wakey! Don't fight me!
As she began to respond, the officers observed her difficulty in following instructions. They expressed frustration at her lack of cooperation, warning her not to bite after she made a sudden movement that alarmed them. They informed her that she was trespassing on private property and questioned her presence, to which she apologized, claiming she didn't think it was a significant issue.
Give me some ID.
Sir, I
Have a seat and produce some identification. Sit
in
down.
the scooter,
Your ID's in your bag?
probably.
The officers requested her identification and instructed her to sit down while producing it. She mentioned that her ID might be in her bag, but struggled to provide clear answers. The officers noted her continued apologies and lack of focus, warning her that she was fortunate not to be in handcuffs due to her earlier attempt to bite.
Stay seated.
Hey,
Sit back
do
down.
do not touch me.
Sit back down.
Do not touch me.
Sit back down or I'll make you sit down.
Do not touch me.
Sit. All right. Now you're under arrest.
Hey, you guys, what the I didn't know
That's a good question.
They asked if she lived at the property, and she admitted she did not, confirming she had no legitimate reason to be there. The officers then placed her under arrest for trespassing, directing her to walk to their patrol car and warning her not to resist. They secured her in the vehicle, ensuring the handcuffs were double locked for safety. When she inquired about the reason for her arrest, they clarified it was for trespassing.
Sound. You're going in the car. Have a seat.
The officers informed her of her Miranda rights, explaining her right to remain silent and to have an attorney present. They asked if she understood these rights, but her response was unclear, indicating ongoing disorientation. When asked if she wished to speak, she did not provide a definitive answer. The officers observed that she smelled strongly of alcohol and questioned whether she had been drinking, to which she did not directly respond. They reminded her that she was found behind a fence near a gas line and had attempted to bite an officer.
Step out of the car, please.
The officers decided to issue her a warning for resisting and attempting to bite an officer, choosing to charge her only with a misdemeanor for trespassing rather than a felony. They directed her to sit on a bench while processing her case and checked her bag for prohibited items. When she asked where she had been found, the officers reiterated the details, though it remained uncertain whether she would recall the incident or how she ended up asleep on someone else's lawn.
Where did you guys find me?
Behind someone's fence. By their gas line. And you tried to bite one of our officers.
The woman faced accusations of trespassing on private property, failing to comply with officers' instructions, and attempting to bite an officer during the encounter. These allegations were addressed with a misdemeanor charge and warnings, reflecting the officer's decision to handle the situation with leniency, given her apparent confusion and lack of malicious intent. In a quiet Ohio neighborhood, why did a woman with a shopping cart full of belongings claim a vacant house as her own, defying police and a realty agent while hinting at a mysterious angel sleeping upstairs? On March 5th, 2025, in a quiet Ohio neighborhood, police responded to a report from a realty company about an unauthorized occupant on their property. The situation unfolded with confusion and determination, revealing a complex misunderstanding.
Climbing in? I don't know about me, but yeah, they did bust that out. Hacker Police! Yeah, Hacker Police. Why are you here? Why are you here?
Upon arriving, officers encountered a peculiar scene. A woman was in the driveway pushing a shopping cart filled with various items. A realty company representative tasked with working on the house explained that he had approached the property to check on a lockbox, but discovered a broken window and fresh food on the kitchen counter inside. The woman confronted him, questioning his presence and asserting her right to be there. She held a black object about the size of a can, which made the representative cautious, unsure if it was mace or something else.
Open the front door? Yeah. If you want to open the front door for us, that'd be fine. I mean, just unlock it, that's all. I mean, whatever we got, you know.
Okay.
Well, I mean, we don't gonna have you go through that way. I thought you...
There should be a lockbox on it.
Now it's no
longer here.
on the front door?
I don't know why this is here, but...
The representative clarified that the house was managed by Remax and owned by Rihanna Lewis. He noted the absence of the expected lockbox on the door and a boarded-up entrance, with the broken window appearing to be the woman's entry point. When asked why she was there, she instructed the representative to leave.
I'll let you in around front. Ma'am, where you at? Oh, this is so silly, ma'am.
The police attempted to reason with her, asking if she would force them to enter and arrest her. She remained defiant, insisting that the house was hers and that she paid rent there. She claimed to pay $250 in rent but could not specify to whom. The officers informed her that the property's owner was present and prepared to sign trespassing charges, yet she maintained her stance, asserting her right to stay.
Man, this is gonna be a silly thing to go to jail over.
What you mean to go to jail?
The owner of this house is here, and they're gonna sign trespass charges on you. We've given
For
you
what? This is
for
my
being in a
house.
house that you don't belong in.
This is my house.
The woman's story grew more complex as she explained she was waiting for her parents to return from work and mentioned a man referred to as the angel sleeping upstairs. She claimed to have a key to the front door, though it was barricaded and inaccessible. The officers observed signs of habitation, an air mattress, men's and women's shoes, and drawers filled with rocks, suggesting others might have used the house. Her behavior and the property's condition led the police to speculate she might be struggling with mental health issues.
Unless you get Sweet Talker to get out on her own.
I think they're gonna need to come remove that board.
What's that?
They're gonna have to unboard it up.
Yeah.
I mean, any amount of this, we
Accessing the house proved challenging due to the boarded-up door and screwed-shut windows, with neither the police nor the representative equipped with tools to remove them. The representative confirmed the house had been sold in November of the previous year, contradicting the woman's claims. The officers urged her to leave voluntarily, warning that remaining would lead to arrest for criminal trespassing. They described the situation as a minor issue not worth going to jail over, but she refused to leave.
No.
Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
not leaving out my house. I'm not leaving out my house.
You are.
No, I'm not. Go away. Do not touch me.
Ma'am,
Do
don't
not
get
touch me. Do not touch
silly.
me.
Do not
Do
get
not
silly.
touch me. Do not touch me. Do not touch me.
Listen, we don't
Do
want
not
to fight
touch
with
me.
you.
The woman became increasingly agitated, repeatedly demanding that the officers leave her alone and not touch her. She mentioned someone named Blah Blah who had instructed her to stay until his return. Despite efforts to de-escalate, she held firm in her belief that the house was hers.
Wait for blah blah to come back.
Okay.
Whoa! 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 Get off me! Get off me! Get off me! Yeah!
The woman expressed frustration, accusing an organization called CSS of mishandling her money, leaving her without resources or a place to stay. She stated that she had entered the abandoned house to feel safe and to report the issue to the authorities. Earlier that day, one officer had given her $40, a small act of kindness. She was advised to contact her caseworker and warned against returning to the property to avoid further arrests.
Any luck?
The reality representative voiced concern that the house was attracting trespassers due to its vulnerable state. The police confirmed that the woman would be arrested and charged with criminal trespassing, concluding the unusual encounter. When a 911 call reports a woman named Tiana wreaking havoc in her ex-husband's store, what drives her to strip down in public and accuse officers of systemic bias while resisting arrest? On March 22, 2024, a 911 operator received a call from the suspect's son, reporting that his mother had entered his father's store and begun causing chaos by pushing items off shelves, throwing things to the ground, and knocking over displays. The father confirmed ownership of the store and described how she had disrupted everything upon entering.
Stop! He just attacked me. I ain't doing shit. He just attacked me. I ain't doing shit. He just attacked me. You turn over. Turn over. No. Get on your stomach. Get on your stomach right now. What? I am. Just calm down. I am. Stop. He just. I ain't. Okay. No, you stop. Stop. You stop. Stop. Calm down. I am. You just undressed in public. Yes. To show you that I have nothing with me.
When police arrived, the woman, identified as Tiana, was in a highly agitated state. She claimed that she had been attacked, asserting that someone had physically assaulted her. Officers instructed her to keep her clothes on as she began undressing to demonstrate she was unarmed, later explaining that she removed her clothing to show she posed no threat. Despite their efforts to calm her, Tiana resisted, denying that she was fighting and stating that her hands were together, emphasizing she had no weapon.
Will you cover her when we get her up? Okay, we're gonna.
No! They need to cover me!
Calm
Take it out!
No.
No! Let's see what they're doing.
Okay, stop.
Let them see what
Get
they're
her in
doing.
the car.
No, for real.
We're covering you up. We're covering you up.
Officers attempted to cover her up, expressing concern about her state of undress in public, but Tiana dismissed their efforts, indicating she did not care about her exposure. She expressed frustration, accusing the officers of humiliating her by allowing her to be seen naked, though she acknowledged removing her clothes voluntarily. Tiana alternated between defiance and pleas, accepting a blanket when she mentioned feeling cold, but rejecting further offers of clothing, questioning their necessity since she had already been seen.
Don't try to make eye contact, bitch. Don't try to make eye contact, bitch. I got naked because I was trying to tell you all over. Make it see? I want to
Sit in.
help me. Move me over here.
Sit up, okay?
Gotcha. Okay.
The officers explained that they needed to place her in a squad car and possibly take her to a hospital for evaluation. Tiana admitted to consuming liquor but denied using drugs when questioned about substances. Her breath suggested alcohol, and her behavior indicated intoxication. She repeatedly demanded a lawyer, refusing to clarify whether she needed medical attention beyond stating her need for legal representation.
Yeah. Okay, gotcha. So sure, kid. If you guys come in together, she starts knocking all stuff down. Then
So he lives with me. I have full custody.
Okay.
Did you take anything? Hey.
I need a lawyer.
Huh?
I need a lawyer.
Well, I'm asking you, do you need medical attention?
I need a lawyer.
Do you need medical attention?
Yes, I need a lawyer.
Okay.
Did
Did you take anything?
I need a lawyer.
So you need medical attention?
I need a lawyer. Yes.
For what? I need to tell EMS what you need it for. Huh?
Naked. They have me out here butt ass naked. Hey, my titties are out here. Help!
Tiana expressed concern about her son, stating she did not want him to see her in such a state, and noted that the squad car's tinted windows would prevent him from viewing her. She voiced distrust in the system, asserting that neither black nor brown individuals receive help. Her frustration extended to the officers, whom she accused of exacerbating her humiliation. She also made general statements about systemic issues, expressing no personal disrespect toward the officers, but criticizing the system itself.
Any admission of guilt or anything, it's just stating that I read it to you, basically.
Yeah. I hate being black. We are so ignorant!
I'm gonna get your vital signs, okay?
As the situation continued, Tiana maintained her resistance, stating she would not cooperate because she believed the officers were trying to take her son. She acknowledged her actions were partly to make things difficult, admitting she had been trying to avoid such confrontations for a year and a half. She expressed regret for making the officers' day challenging, but felt compelled to act out due to her circumstances.
I was trying to too.
You want me to help you?
No, for what? There are no scenes. No disrespect to nobody individually here. None.
I was trying to help you, hon.
No disrespect to nobody individually. Him, her, you. No disrespect to none of y'all. It is what it is. The system is what it is.
Officers informed Tiana they would retrieve her remaining clothes from another location and take her to either Humility of Mary or another facility. She continued to protest, insisting she wanted to remain as she was, feeling that the officers had already seen her in a compromised state. She accused them of causing her embarrassment and reiterated her desire to file a complaint, though she did not specify its basis when questioned. Ultimately, Tiana was charged with resisting and obstructing, driving under the influence, and disorderly conduct. How does a routine check for a missing handicap placard spiral into a mother's desperate pleas to keep her children from DCFS, accusations of racial profiling, and a physical struggle that risks felony charges? On July 23, 2022, police officers approached a woman parked in a handicapped parking space without a visible handicap placard. What began as a routine check quickly escalated into a tense confrontation involving discussions about her children, her legal issues, and her interactions with the officers.
43, 31 respond for a mulch fire, 588 Boulevard. Inside requesting 43, 31 for a mulch fire.
I understand, but I don't know what you are you wanting?
Because you're probably not taking the jail.
Do you have a warrant?
Yes, ma'am. I think so.
Okay.
The officers initiated the encounter by asking if she or anyone in her vehicle had a handicap placard. When she didn't respond clearly, they took it as a no and requested her driver's license. She confirmed the vehicle was hers and mentioned her grandmother was present. The situation grew complicated when officers discovered she had a warrant for unpaid traffic tickets with a bond of $800, initially thought to be $900. She admitted she couldn't pay the bond and expressed concern about her children who were in the vehicle potentially being taken by the Department of Children and Family Services due to an existing case.
Yeah, what's that fine? Don't park in a handicap spot. It's not for you.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, do you have someone you can call to come get her kids? Okay, who have you gotten hold of to come get the kids? I know you've made a couple of phone calls. Who have you gotten hold of?
The woman explained she was staying in a shelter in East St. Louis and had come to the location to buy wipes for her children as she had no money. She acknowledged parking in the handicapped spot was a mistake but emphasized her dire circumstances. She repeatedly stated that her grandmother couldn't take custody of her children, citing her grandmother's limitations, and she had no one else to call, especially since it was a weekend and the office of One Hope United, a service between her and DCFS, was closed.
My caseperson, she actually told me 900.
Well, she was off. It's 800. My dispatcher just told me, okay?
I mean, with me, I got $800. So
Okay.
I mean,
All right. How come you haven't gone to the courthouse and talked to them about your warrant?
I had court actually earlier this last month, and I didn't go to court because they were going to take me to jail at court.
Officers noted additional issues. Her driver's license was suspended, and she likely lacked insurance as it was her first day driving the car. They urged her to make phone calls to find someone to care for her children, but she insisted she had no one. The officers clarified the bond amount was $800, not $900, and asked why she hadn't addressed the warrant in court. She admitted missing a court date the previous month, fearing arrest as she hadn't arranged care for her children. The officers explained that resolving the warrant could have led to a new court date, but her warrant stemmed from accumulated charges over 3 years, not just a failure to appear.
Let's hold him down. Did I just hear you say that this is because you're black?
Yes, sir.
No.
Yes, it is.
You want to listen to me?
Lady, how many more people are putting in handicap? Don't touch me. How many more people are putting in handicap without a handicap sticker? I didn't even go inside the store. Only because you're white, not black. Don't raise your voice at me.
The situation intensified when the woman was asked to stand by her vehicle to avoid obstructing traffic. Officers suggested placing the children's car seats in her grandmother's car, but she resisted, insisting her grandmother couldn't care for them. The officers tried to de-escalate, emphasizing they weren't taking her to jail immediately and were issuing a ticket for the parking violation. They encouraged her to take the ticket and leave with her children, warning that her grandfather could drive her car since she wasn't allowed to due to her suspended license.
I'm not going to take her to jail.
That's what I just told you. I just told you that.
No. You're only not taking me to jail.
What about the kids?
That's why she ain't taking me to jail.
What about the kids?
That's why she not taking me to jail. Because that means you got to figure out what's going to happen to my kids.
The woman grew increasingly agitated, refusing to accept the ticket and insisting on being taken to jail, citing her warrant. She argued that her children couldn't stay with her grandparents as they were not capable of caring for them and feared DCFS would take custody. Officers reiterated they were trying to avoid arresting her to keep her children out of DCFS custody, but she continued to challenge their actions, escalating the situation further.
Drive her car?
Yeah.
I'm not going to let no white racist ass shit happen.
Okay.
Y'all doing this shit because
Now, Ardenae, the stuff you're saying is not true. You're just saying that.
ass piece of white
Why don't you stop?
No one.
As tensions rose, the woman resisted physically, refusing to comply with instructions to get into the police car. Officers warned her about potential charges, including resisting arrest, and noted she appeared to attempt to bite an officer and kicked the car door while claiming she was trying to free her legs. The officers restrained her, warning she could face a felony charge for aggravated battery to a peace officer. She denied intent to bite, stating she had no teeth, and claimed her kicking was accidental.
They had to go this far.
Get in the car. Get in
Ultimately, the woman was taken into custody. Her children were placed with their grandparents, despite her objections. The officers informed her she would remain at the police department until Monday, when the state's attorney's office would review her case for possible felony charges.
Stop.
You're about to get tased. You're about to get tased.
Can I please get out? I'll take them on my car. Please get out.
We cannot.
Please get out.
Ardenae.
Please get out of the hole.
For your mother. If
The
nothing
woman
else.
alleged racial bias during the encounter, claiming the officers targeted her because she was black and they were white. She argued that other cars parked in handicapped spaces without placards weren't ticketed, suggesting the officers' actions were motivated by race and their authority. The officers denied these claims, stating the stop was solely due to the visible lack of a handicap placard and had no racial basis. They pointed out they chose not to arrest her initially to avoid separating her from her children, emphasizing the interaction was about the parking violation. Why would a woman, grieving her mother's death and claiming a $1 million fortune, refuse to leave a restaurant booth, leading to a tense standoff with police and a gospel-fueled defiance? On March 1st, 2024, police were dispatched to a local restaurant following a report of a trespassing incident. The situation unfolded when a woman who had been at the establishment since 5 p.m. was asked to leave by the restaurant staff. According to the manager, she had been present a couple of nights prior and was seen wandering around the premises, engaging in conversations with anyone who would listen. On this particular evening, she had not purchased anything and had overstayed, prompting the staff to request her departure.
Thank you.
Hey dear, how are you?
I'm blessed and highly favored.
I hear you.
Thank you. So wait, please, because I've been here since 5 o'clock.
Okay.
I'm hungry.
Okay.
They have gave me no service.
Okay.
So will you please call David Hawkins?
When the officers arrived, they approached the woman who was seated in a corner booth. The manager expressed a preference for her to leave without further escalation, having already asked her to do so multiple times. The woman, visibly distressed, explained to the officers that she was hungry, had received no service, and was experiencing health issues, including high blood pressure and anxiety. She mentioned feeling shaky and stressed, attributing her emotional state to the recent loss of her mother in 2021. She repeatedly requested that the officers contact David Hawkins, whom she identified as the owner of a funeral home, insisting that he be called in case she passed out or died.
So you want EMS to respond here now?
Yes, please.
Okay. So in order to do that, we have to go outside and see them. They're not going to come in.
I understand. No problem.
Okay. So I'm going to call them for you. Okay. But you have to understand. You have to hear me out.
I promise I will.
Okay. So per law, listen to me now. Per law, if they don't want you in the restaurant no more, you have to.
Maybe.
Okay. So there is no.
The officers listened patiently, acknowledging her distress and offering to call emergency medical services, EMS, to check on her condition. However, they explained that per the restaurant's rights, she needed to leave the premises as requested. The woman expressed frustration, stating she was grieving and felt neglected by the staff. She emphasized her need to eat and drink, but the officers informed her that the restaurant wanted her to leave and would not serve her. They offered to escort her outside to meet EMS, who could not enter the restaurant to assist her.
Y'all are blessed tonight. I promise y'all are. Y'all know Crook? Y'all know Crook? Huh? No, I'm gonna let them do it because I'm gonna get paid. I got $1 million in my bank account, right?
As the conversation continued, the woman grew increasingly agitated. She claimed to be a Christian, admitting she wasn't perfect, and expressed anger at having been at the restaurant for hours without service. She insisted on staying until EMS arrived, citing her health concerns and fear of passing out. The officers reiterated that she had to leave as the restaurant's management had the legal right to refuse her presence. When she refused to comply, the officers physically escorted her out of the booth and placed her in handcuffs to ensure compliance.
I understand that you're grieving, okay? And whatever happened before I got here is what happened, okay? But I know that I have a job to do, right? And if they ask you to leave, that you have to leave. There is no other way around it.
I understand.
Okay? But now, I had to come in here and grab you and physically remove you from the establishment. Do you understand that?
I do.
Okay.
Outside, the woman continued to voice her grievances, mentioning her back pain and the discomfort of the handcuffs. She pleaded for them to be loosened, claiming they were too tight and exacerbating her condition. The officers checked the cuffs, ensuring they were not overly restrictive, but declined to remove them due to her non-compliance. She continued to assert her distress, mentioning her mother's death and her connection to a tanning salon next door where her mother had worked. She also referenced a pastor, Dr. Robert Lovis, and a situation room, urging the officers to look it up, implying it would reveal her significance.
Just do what you ask me to do. That's all I'm gonna do.
All I ask you to do
This is really tight. I know it. This is
We'll turn around and I'll fix it for you.
I appreciate it.
Okay. Which one? This one?
Both of them.
Okay.
The woman's emotional state fluctuated between cooperation and defiance. She spoke of her wealth, claiming to have $1 million in her bank account, and mentioned knowing a football player named Derek Brooks, whom she called her cousin. She oscillated between pleading for understanding and angrily confronting the officers, at one point refusing to move and warning them that any harm to her would be on their watch. Despite her protests, she eventually agreed to sit in the police vehicle as they waited for EMS.
It's on your watch. What's your name, sir?
Officer Potts.
Can you spell it?
Potts.
Where you from?
Here.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
What year you graduate?
19.
Really?
From Tate.
While waiting, she sang lines from a gospel song, I Don't Mind Waiting, expressing her faith and resilience. She spoke of completing a 21-day fast and quoted scripture, declaring herself the head and not the tail, and above and not beneath. Her demeanor shifted between moments of calm faith and frustration as she continued to assert her identity and rights. The officers remained professional, attempting to de-escalate while ensuring she followed their instructions to enter the vehicle for transport.
Delta, hi.
How are you?
Terrible.
Terrible. Are we here for you? Boy, you look pretty good.
So, can you have them take these off so I can breathe first and then I can talk because my back is killing me.
EMS arrived and assessed her condition, and she was transported to a hospital where she was medically cleared. During the interaction, she mentioned her age, 62, and her physical limitations, asking to stretch her back and expressing concern about her health. The officers retrieved her belongings, including 3 items and a zipped bag from the booth, and searched for her glasses, which she said were left on the seat.
Let my arm go, please.
Okay.
Let me show you what I can do.
Okay.
I'm fucking 62 years old. I got to stretch my back.
Okay.
I'm 62 years old. I cannot work your ass.
Okay.
Okay, watch this.
Okay.
I ain't gonna hurt myself. One.
The manager was asked whether he wished to press charges for trespassing. He was informed that, regardless of his decision, the woman might face charges for obstructing the officer's duties due to her refusal to leave. The officers left the decision to the primary officer, identified as Officer Potts.
Yep, and then we're going to help you slide in, okay?
I don't need you to have me slide in,
Okay,
but if
okay.
that's what you want me to do,
Okay.
I will do it.
Okay,
please.
thank you. Thank you.
So what you want me to do?
I want you to slide in, okay?
Okay.
Despite her pleas about health and grief, she refused to leave, leading to her being escorted out in handcuffs. She complained about the cuffs' tightness, her back pain, and her emotional state, referencing her wealth, a pastor, and a situation room. She sang gospel lyrics expressing faith and mentioned a 21-day fast. EMS transported her to a hospital where she was cleared. The manager was asked about pressing charges for trespassing. The officers noted she might face charges for obstructing due to her refusal to comply. She was charged with resisting an officer without violence, trespassing, and battery on an officer, but all charges were later dropped. In the pre-dawn hours, what dark allegations of a landlord spying through windows with a headlamp push a mother to a breaking point, resulting in a chaotic arrest for domestic battery. In the early hours of April 16, 2024, the Palm Beach Sheriff's Office responded to a civil dispute at a residence involving a tenant and her landlord. The situation quickly escalated, revealing layers of tension, mistrust, and serious allegations. This account, based on the events described, maintains the original content while reorganizing the narrative to place the tenant's accusations against the landlord at the end as requested.
Remember me?
Hey, we're just having a problem real quick with
The landlord?
yeah.
What's he been doing?
He's sleeping in
The windows?
yeah, but listen, my wife.
The call came in the pre-dawn hours, summoning deputies to a home where a tenant reported issues with her landlord. Upon arrival, the tenant, a woman with children, explained the immediate problem. The landlord had disabled the Wi-Fi, cutting off her access to security cameras. She also claimed he was engaging in unsettling behavior, which prompted her to contact law enforcement. The deputies, tasked with sorting through the heated exchange, sensed there was more to the story than a simple disagreement.
Yes. About some bullshit. You remember you took me?
Listen, you know...
I didn't have her here. I took everybody else out. I brought her.
Ma'am, can you just hang out the house?
I need her because she's going to get me kicked out of here.
The tenant's husband, present at the scene, was the first to speak with the officers. He described the landlord's actions, confirming that the Wi-Fi had been turned off, which disabled their cameras. He also mentioned the landlord's alleged intrusive behavior, noting that his children had seen the landlord outside their windows wearing a headlamp. Frustrated, he explained that his wife was upset, believing the landlord's actions were deliberate and invasive. The husband tried to calm the situation, urging his wife to stay inside while he spoke with the deputies, but the tension was palpable.
You know, I'm sick of them covering up for sicko being landlords. Nope, I'm not doing that.
Okay, where are you going, miss?
To grab my daughter from him, but go ahead. Go ahead, interview them.
Is that the father?
Yeah, he is.
Okay.
The landlord lives over there. Go ahead, girls.
Right, may I speak with you? May I speak with you?
Yeah.
The wife, however, was not easily subdued. She emerged, visibly agitated, and insisted on speaking directly with the officers. She refused to let her husband downplay the situation, rejecting his attempts to cover for the landlord. Her emotions ran high as she described her fears for her children's safety, particularly her daughter's. She demanded to take her daughter away from the scene, emphasizing her distrust of the landlord. The deputies, attempting to maintain order, asked to interview each party separately to get a clearer picture.
You can ask them more so about that because you have to ask them about that.
Right, my question you being the adult.
Being the adult, when did
Right.
this come to light?
When did this come to light? Yes.
The night before last.
Okay.
The husband painted a complex picture of the family's circumstances. He admitted his wife was struggling, possibly with mental health issues, and had been drinking that night. He denied any physical altercation had occurred that evening, though he acknowledged past conflicts. His primary concern was the well-being of their children, who were caught in the middle of the dispute. He described the landlord as someone who had helped them when they were in need, providing a place to stay when they had little else. Yet he couldn't fully dismiss the odd behavior his wife and children had reported.
Me and my kids away from these creepies.
Okay.
And that's what I want.
Well, my question to you is, if you're making these allegations of
It's not allegations, that's true.
Right. I understand you're upset, but if you don't...
No, I'm not upset. No, this is 100% true. No, I will talk. Yes, he did. All over, yes. That's my daughters. Yep.
Okay, so she's
Yes.
claiming 31 D now.
Yep. Yep.
The deputies faced a challenging scene. The wife was confrontational, yelling about her distrust of both the landlord and the police, based on prior experiences where she felt ignored. She insisted on speaking to a sergeant, believing only someone with higher authority and specific domestic violence training could understand her plight. The officers, trained in handling such situations, tried to de-escalate, but her frustration boiled over. She accused the deputies of dismissing her concerns and referenced past incidents where she felt justice was not served.
Listen to me talk. You keep talking over me and I can't talk. You already told me that none of these injuries that you're claiming you have from him happened tonight. You're stating that they've had them and stuff's happened in the past. So what you're most concerned about tonight is the land. Why are you walking up in my face?
Call your deputy. Call your sergeant. Call your sergeant. Call your sergeant.
As the conversation unfolded, the wife's anger turned toward one of the deputies, whom she claimed to recognize from years ago. She hurled insults, mocking his appearance and questioning his competence, even suggesting she knew him from a past encounter at a club. The deputy, maintaining his composure, denied her claims, pointing out the timeline didn't add up. He would have been a child during the period she referenced. The exchange grew heated, with the wife refusing to back down, demanding badge numbers and threatening to take her story to the media.
This woman has caused havoc through all work. And you want to go back? No, this is the road, bro.
Yeah, because all y'all, nobody can stand nobody that tells the truth.
I put you,
Nobody can stand anybody that tells the truth. You put me where?
Your truth.
What's your mind? Hold on, whose truth?
Your truth. You were
yours. Who's in the bush?
There we go. You're being under arrest, man.
The situation took a turn when the wife, in her agitation, admitted to striking her husband. She justified it, saying she felt threatened by him and the landlord's actions. The deputies, now with body camera footage capturing the admission, had no choice but to act. Despite her protest and claims that she was protecting her children, she was arrested for domestic battery and resisting arrest after pulling away when officers attempted to detain her. She argued that she was only throwing her purse to prevent it from being taken, as it happened in a prior incident with another police department.
I'm not picking you up. You're walking back.
Tell them they're not going to admit me. I didn't take my blood pressure medication, asshole.
In the patrol car, the wife continued her tirade, alternating between anger and desperation. She reiterated her distrust of the system, claiming nothing ever happened to those who wronged her. She acknowledged drinking a beer earlier, but denied being intoxicated to the point of impairing her judgment. The deputies, while empathetic to her distress, explained that they had to follow protocol. The evidence of her striking her husband, combined with her resistance during arrest, left them no choice but to take her into custody.
Y'all would have left me here, he was going to get me tonight. That's what he whispered when you people pulled up. So,
Thank God we're saving you.
Maybe I had a swing on him because y'all weren't doing shit and your sergeant going to show up and your partner's a little bitch.
The children, caught in the chaos, were a focal point for both parents. The husband pleaded for their safety, while the wife insisted they were not safe with the landlord. The deputies prioritized getting the children indoors, away from the early morning commotion as it was a school night. The husband's concern for his kids was evident, but the wife's accusations against him and the landlord complicated the situation. After her arrest, the wife spent 34 days in Palm Beach County Jail before being sentenced to 12 months of probation. The incident left unresolved questions about the landlord's behavior and the family's ongoing struggles.
I'm just gonna check your pockets. You don't have to. Are there pockets there? Is this the rear pocket here?
That's the only pocket. That's the one that I just gave you.
All right. Can I put her in here? Absolutely. Hop on up. Watch your step. Put the seatbelt on. You got it.
I got it. I thought I couldn't let him.
Who's in the back here? Okay. We'll do it for you.
The tenant's specific allegations against the landlord, as relayed to the deputies, were serious and detailed. She claimed he was not only disabling the Wi-Fi, but also shutting off the hot water and power intermittently. More disturbingly, she accused him of changing the settings on their cameras to spy on her family and peeking through her daughter's windows with a headlamp. She described catching him in the act, likening his expression to a deer caught in headlights. Her daughters, she said, corroborated these claims, having witnessed the landlord's unsettling behavior themselves. These accusations, while grave, were difficult for the deputies to verify on the spot, contributing to the wife's frustration with the response. On October 24, 2024, a routine traffic stop in Wheaton, Illinois, escalated due to the uncooperative behavior of the suspect, Jenna. Officer Green, a young female officer from the Wheaton Police Department, pulled Jenna over for a non-functioning license plate light and speeding. The interaction began calmly, with Officer Green explaining the reason for the stop. However, Jenna immediately became confrontational, refusing to stay in her vehicle despite multiple lawful orders. She argued that she was on private property in her apartment complex's parking lot, believing this exempted her from compliance. Jenna's behavior grew increasingly aggressive, including verbally insulting the officer and physically resisting when instructed to remain in or exit her vehicle. She claimed she had come straight from work and denied any intoxication, though her erratic actions raised suspicions.
You don't close my door.
Yes, you need to close
Why?
the
I'm in my car.
You need to get in the vehicle and close
Why?
the door.
Why?
Because it's a safety
You said
concern.
I'm in my vehicle.
It's a safety concern. Get in your vehicle.
Now you're afraid for your safety?
Get in the vehicle.
Oh my God.
Ma'am, I've told you I don't know how many times. This is not an argument.
As the situation intensified, Jenna repeatedly exited her vehicle against orders, demanded the officer's name and badge number, and accused Officer Green of harassment. She called her husband for support, further escalating the scene. Despite warnings that she would be arrested for non-compliance, Jenna continued to defy instructions, shouting insults and refusing to close her car door for safety reasons. Sergeant Green arrived to assist, reiterating the importance of following lawful orders during a traffic stop. He explained that Jenna's failure to comply could lead to arrest for obstruction, but she eventually complied with his order to exit the vehicle. The traffic stop concluded with a citation for driving without a registration light, with no court appearance required unless Jenna chose to contest it.
Are you freaking kidding me? I live here. Why are you harassing me? I came straight from work. What the f is wrong with you guys? Oh my fucking God. You're making such a scene.
Ma'am, I'm not the one making the scene.
I'm not making a scene either.
I've given you multiple lawful orders that you are not
I didn't
willing
do
to listen to.
anything. I came straight from work.
Can you stand here for a second and talk to 31?
2 weeks later, body camera footage revealed additional details about the incident, leading to arrest warrants for Jenna on charges of battery of an officer and obstructing justice. Officers Wealthy and White arrived at Jenna's workplace to execute the warrants. They found her during her shift, informed her of the active warrants, and arrested her in front of her manager. Jenna was visibly embarrassed but complied with the arrest. The officers ensured her belongings were secured and offered to arrange a ride back to her vehicle after processing. At the police department, Jenna was informed of her charges, fingerprinted, and required to sign pretrial release paperwork. She was also given the opportunity to contact her family.
Where's her locker?
This incident highlights the importance of remaining calm and cooperative during interactions with law enforcement, even if you believe the stop is unjust. Escalating a situation through defiance or aggression can lead to serious legal consequences, as seen in Jenna's case. If you feel mistreated, document the interaction calmly and pursue formal complaints or legal recourse afterward, as advised by Sergeant Green. Maintaining composure and following lawful orders can prevent unnecessary escalation and protect your rights while allowing you to address grievances through proper channels, such as filing a complaint with the police department or consulting a lawyer.
So we'll have to go back. We'll have to. I'll give you your charges so that way you know everything that's going on. We'll have to do your fingerprint and pictures. I'll have to have you sign a breach.
Jenna was charged with battery on an officer and obstructing justice. Her physical resistance, including allegations of pushing Officer Green, violates Illinois compiled statutes 7205/12-3.05 D-4, which defines battery as knowingly causing bodily harm or making physical contact of an insulting or provoking nature with a peace officer. Additionally, Jenna's refusal to follow lawful orders during the traffic stop constitutes obstructing a peace officer, violating 7205/31-1A, which prohibits knowingly resisting or obstructing a peace officer in the performance of their duties. On what started as a casual evening at a concert and casino, events quickly spiraled out of control for a woman whose behavior led to a chaotic confrontation with law enforcement. The woman, heavily intoxicated, was initially offered a chance to go home. Officers arranged for a lift, but the situation deteriorated when the driver reported that she refused to enter the vehicle and instead attempted to re-enter the casino. This decision marked the beginning of a series of escalating encounters.
Your bag. Your bag is here. Ma'am, listen. Here's where we're at.
You want to cuff me? Put me in the back of your car.
What would you like me to call you?
I would love you to cuff
What would you
me.
like me to call you?
Stupid.
Okay.
The woman's behavior grew increasingly erratic. She demanded to use the bathroom, threatening that her bladder would piss all over the floor if denied access. Officers, maintaining their stance, refused her re-entry to the casino, prompting her to lash out verbally, accusing them of being brainwashed by politics, and expressing frustration to the point of nearly resorting to violence. She acknowledged the risk of arrest, stating, "I'm going to get arrested if I punch him in the face." Yet her agitation persisted.
Get arrested if I punch him in the face, okay?
Oh, you absolutely will.
So get out of my face!
Step back.
As the situation intensified, the woman's actions turned physical. She pushed and kicked at the officers, ignoring their commands to calm down and stop resisting. Despite attempts to de-escalate, including offers to let her sit on the curb if she stopped kicking, her defiance continued. She repeatedly shouted, "Get off me," and insulted the officers, calling them derogatory names. The officers, left with no choice, restrained her, warning her to stop fighting as she was placed under arrest. Her resistance culminated in her being placed in a full body wrap to prevent further harm to herself or others. Even then, she continued to yell, demanding the officers get away from her and making sarcastic remarks about their strength.
Get off me!
Move your feet so I can get off.
Ultimately, the woman was taken into custody, but not without significant struggle. Her refusal to comply, coupled with her physical and verbal aggression, transformed a routine interaction into a volatile incident requiring significant police intervention.
Get off me, you stupid!
Nope, you've lost that opportunity.
This incident underscores the importance of maintaining composure, especially when under the influence. Alcohol can impair judgment, escalate emotions, and lead to decisions with severe legal consequences. If you find yourself in a heated situation with law enforcement, prioritize de-escalation. Stay calm, follow instructions, and avoid physical or verbal aggression. Public intoxication is a serious matter, and resisting officers can lead to additional charges. If you're struggling with alcohol-related behavior, consider seeking support through counseling or programs like Alcoholics Anonymous to address underlying issues before they lead to legal trouble. Cooperation and self-awareness are key to avoiding such outcomes.
I've asked you 5 times to get off me!
It's not happening. You keep kicking. Stop.
I'm not kicking you, stupid idiot!
You kicked me 4 times.
You kicked me multiple times. You're not going to... No! My water is completely yourself! Get off my legs! Get off me!
Was charged with 2 counts of aggravated battery on a peace officer and 1 count of aggravated assault on a peace officer. Under Illinois law, where this incident likely occurred based on similar cases, aggravated battery to a peace officer is defined under 720 ILCS 512.3 D4, involving knowingly causing bodily harm or making physical contact of an insulting or provoking nature to an officer performing their duties. Aggravated assault on a peace officer per 720 ILCS 512.2 B4.1 involves conduct that places an officer in reasonable apprehension of receiving bodily harm, such as threatening or attempting to strike them. These are felony offenses carrying significant penalties, including potential imprisonment. On February 28, 2025, a routine traffic stop in New York escalated into a complex encounter involving deception, resistance, and an outstanding warrant. An officer pulled over a green Honda Accord due to expired tags, a cracked windshield, and a non-functional brake light. The driver, a woman, was not wearing a seatbelt, which initially seemed like a minor infraction. However, the situation quickly unraveled when she provided a false name, Jessica Lynn Rollinger, and claimed she had no valid driver's license or ID. Her vague responses and inconsistent stories, such as changing her birth date and claiming not to know her social security number, raised the officer's suspicions.
Reason for the stop today, a couple reasons, all right? You only have 1 operational brake light. I noticed you weren't wearing your seatbelt, and your windshield's all cracked up.
When asked to step out of the vehicle, the woman, later identified as Rebecca, continued to dodge questions about her identity and the contents of the car. She claimed the vehicle and its contents, including a black bag, belonged to her friend Jessie, who was a passenger. The officer, experienced and skeptical, warned her about a fingerprint ID machine that could reveal her true identity. Despite this, Rebecca stuck to her false narrative, growing increasingly nervous. When the officer pressed further, she suddenly fled on foot, running across the street. The officers pursued and detained her at an intersection, placing her in handcuffs after a brief struggle.
An ID card?
Not in Florida, but in New York I had him.
Okay.
It's just revoked.
Who's him to you?
He's my friend.
Your friend? Okay, where are you guys coming from tonight?
From Walmart.
Walmart? Which Walmart?
Back at the scene, the officers questioned Jesse, who was uncooperative and confrontational, insisting on his rights and refusing a search of his person despite a knife being removed from his pocket for officer safety. Rebecca, now detained, admitted to running because she was scared and claimed Jesse had narcotics on him, though she later said they were in the car's driver's side door. A search of the vehicle revealed a pill container with what appeared to be a Schedule IV substance, though it was not prescribed to Rebecca. The car, described as infested with roaches, was towed, and Jesse was allowed to retrieve his belongings, including a backpack, but not the vehicle's keys.
Alright, so do you want to just tell me now, or are you going to keep holding out?
Honest.
I'm not stupid. It's not my first day. I've been doing this a long time, and I'm pretty good at it. Alright, so are you going to be honest or not?
I'm being honest.
No, you're not. You can sit here and lie to me. It's fine. I don't care. You're the one that's going to catch the charge.
The officers confirmed Rebecca's true identity and discovered a $100,000 bond tied to an outstanding warrant from Pinellas County for a theft case, with full extradition required. Rebecca pleaded with Jesse to arrange a bondsman to pay $500 to secure her release, expressing distress about being transported and potentially detained for weeks. She also repeatedly asked to say goodbye to her puppy, which was in the car, but the officers, focused on procedure, denied most of her requests, though they retrieved her phone and socks. Throughout the interaction, Rebecca's emotional pleas contrasted with her earlier deception, while Jesse's frustration with the officers highlighted tensions over perceived rights violations.
Go, he's running across the street! I got her. Get on the ground.
This case underscores the importance of honesty and compliance during interactions with law enforcement. Providing false information or fleeing from officers can escalate a minor stop into serious legal consequences, as seen with Rebecca's additional charges. If you have outstanding legal issues, such as warrants, address them proactively by consulting a lawyer or appearing in court to avoid compounded penalties like increased bonds or extradition. Maintaining a valid driver's license and vehicle compliance, e.g., functional brake lights, valid tags, can prevent initial stops. During a stop, remain calm, provide accurate information, and avoid confrontational behavior, as it may lead to further scrutiny or charges. If facing financial or legal challenges, seek assistance from legal aid or bondsmen promptly to mitigate prolonged detention or penalties.
You guys just check like under the squad around here.
Yeah. He's checking for the car.
How long did you take it off? She didn't do it. That's why I asked her why you take them off.
What's funny? Yeah, my phone. How do you have my phone?
What's up, man?
Oh, I see. I'm going out of it.
Baby, you gotta use your money. Have a seat, Rebecca. Jesse, you gotta use your money. Rebecca, get in the car. Jesse.
Ultimately, Rebecca was taken into custody and faced multiple charges. She pleaded guilty to 3 offenses: providing a false name upon arrest, resisting arrest, and driving without a valid driver's license. The court sentenced her to time served and issued a citation for the seatbelt violation, giving her 1 year to pay associated fines and court costs. The Pinellas County warrant, tied to a theft case where she failed to appear, resulted in a guilty plea, with Rebecca ordered to pay over $800 in restitution, prosecution costs, and fees. On June 23, 2023, police officers responded to a 911 call from a woman complaining about her AT&T phone bill. The situation quickly escalated as the woman, frustrated and confrontational, insisted she was calling AT&T, not 911, despite officers' evidence to the contrary. She argued that she was reporting a corporate crime involving fake social security numbers at a location in St. Lucie West, but the officers deemed her repeated 911 calls inappropriate for a non-emergency issue. The woman's agitation grew as she denied making the calls, accused the officers of lying, and claimed they were unfairly targeting her while ignoring larger corporate issues. Despite warnings that further 911 calls would lead to her arrest for misuse of the system, she continued to argue, becoming increasingly belligerent.
That I'm calling AT&T. They're who I'm on the phone with.
You were just on the phone with their dispatch, okay?
I was on the phone with AT&T, and they said they'd call you guys.
I'm giving you this chance. Stop calling dispatch. Stop calling 911 about AT&T, okay? This is not. You just were on the phone with dispatch.
I was on the phone with AT&T. You can see it.
Okay, if you call dispatch again, you are going to be placed under arrest for misuse of 911.
What happens if AT&T calls dispatch? Not you.
The officers, noting she had called 911 3 times about her phone bill, informed her that this was not a police matter. The situation deteriorated when she resisted their attempts to detain her, physically struggling and refusing to comply with their instructions. She repeatedly shouted that she hadn't called 911, threatened to sue the officers, and accused them of misconduct, claiming her phone records would prove her innocence. Her resistance included pulling away from the officers and refusing to be handcuffed, which they interpreted as aggressive behavior. The officers eventually arrested her, and one noted they had dealt with her before, describing her as cooperative when sober, but challenging in this instance.
I called 911. You said if I called AT&T, it would be a problem. And I didn't call AT&T, so what is the problem?
You're adding another charge.
What's the problem, sir? What is the problem?
The woman's frustration stemmed from her belief that the police were dismissing her concerns about corporate wrongdoing while focusing on her minor issue. Her combative demeanor and refusal to calm down exacerbated the situation, leading to her arrest. The officers remained firm, emphasizing that misuse of 911 was a serious offense and that her resistance was adding to her charges. Despite her protests, they proceeded with the arrest and she was searched and taken into custody.
911 and I did it. So you're gonna be sued because you can see in my phone records I didn't call 911 ever again. So you're gonna be sued. I hope you want to lose your job.
What will it be like?
This incident highlights the importance of understanding the appropriate use of emergency services and maintaining composure during interactions with law enforcement. If you have a non-emergency issue, such as a billing dispute, contact the company directly or seek assistance through consumer protection agencies rather than calling 911, which is reserved for life-threatening emergencies. When engaging with police, staying calm and cooperative, even if you feel misunderstood, can prevent escalation. If you believe you've been wronged, document the interaction and pursue legal recourse through proper channels, such as filing a complaint or consulting an attorney, rather than arguing on the scene. Emotional outbursts or physical resistance can lead to additional charges, as seen in this case. Always verify your claims, such as phone records, before making accusations, and seek to resolve disputes through civil means to avoid legal consequences.
I'm being arrested for something I didn't do. You said I had to call the cops to be arrested. I didn't.
Okay.
I called AT&T. You can look at it.
Not up for debate.
The woman was charged with misuse of the 911 system and resisting with violence. In Florida, misuse of 911 is addressed under Florida Statute 365-172 and 13, which prohibits making non-emergency calls to 911, as it diverts resources from genuine emergencies. Penalties can include fines or jail time, depending on the frequency and intent of the calls. Resisting with violence is covered under Florida Statute 843.01, which makes it a third-degree felony to knowingly resist, obstruct, or oppose an officer with violence during their lawful duties. This charge carries a potential penalty of up to 5 years in prison or probation, along with fines. These charges reflect the seriousness of abusing emergency services and physically resisting law enforcement, as demonstrated by the woman's action. On December 28, 2024, in Ohio, police responded to multiple reports of a domestic disturbance involving a couple, a 42-year-old woman, and her fiancé, Brian. When officers arrived, they found Brian bleeding from both sides of his nose, while the woman had visible injuries, including bite marks on her ear and wrist. The situation was chaotic, with both parties offering conflicting accounts of the incident centered around a trip to a marijuana dispensary to purchase edibles for the woman's aunt using her credit card.
Car, and he won't let me get it. He just did it.
Okay.
He's acting like crazy. He's telling me that I tried to fly off the highway. I didn't do none of that.
Were you driving or is he driving?
No, he's driving.
Okay.
According to the woman, she and Brian, who had recently moved to the area, were living together. She claimed they went to the dispensary to buy gummies, but on the way back, Brian became aggressive, allegedly biting her ear and wrist and slapping her. She said he was upset because she prioritized her family over him, and his anger escalated when she couldn't find her aunt's credit card in his car. She also accused him of reckless driving, claiming he was swerving due to drinking, and said she grabbed the wheel to force him to pull over because she feared his violent behavior. Her aunt, Kathy, corroborated parts of her story, stating she saw Brian trying to pull the woman out of the car.
He's mad because I tend to feel better next to my family than I do him.
Man, when you're done here, I want you to get your shit and get my
It's
house.
same as
I've
been wanting to get away from you for so long.
I don't want you going.
I need you to get in the car and find because it was my ID. We need to search that car like.
Yeah, 'cause that's very damn important.
Okay, so
Brian, however, presented a different version. He admitted to biting the woman's ear, but claimed it was in self-defense while she was attacking him. He said she was bipolar and became erratic after losing her aunt's credit card, blaming him for it. According to Brian, while he was driving, she was yanking up and down, swinging at him and trying to grab the wheel, causing the car to swerve. He insisted he was focused on keeping them safe on the highway and only bit her to stop her from attacking him while they were parked.
Sorry, I was going to get her some edibles. Okay. So I went and got her some edibles, and that was good. And then he spent some of my money, it's his money, on...
I don't care about the purchase.
Okay.
Let's get you guys, whatever purchases were made, we're driving
here,
back in the car.
The police noted the couple's history of domestic disputes, having responded to similar incidents earlier in the year where both sustained significant injuries. The officer expressed concern that their volatile relationship could lead to deadly consequences, urging them to reconsider staying together. Despite the woman's claims of being the victim, her story was inconsistent, particularly about how Brian could have bitten her ear while driving or how the injuries occurred. Brian's account, while also imperfect, aligned more closely with the physical evidence and the aunt's partial corroboration of the car altercation.
So that's when he was biting you, was once the wheel was getting gripped, right?
After that. After that part. I mean, he's mad.
So you did try and grip the wheel.
I had to pull over. Well, he gripped the wheel first.
Because he's driving.
Ultimately, the woman was arrested and charged with domestic violence, as her actions, grabbing the wheel and striking Brian while he drove, were deemed the primary cause of the incident. The police determined her story didn't fully add up, and her aggressive behavior posed a direct threat to their safety on the road.
We can I'll figure this out before. Have you ever been charged with domestic violence before?
No.
Let's see.
He hit me first.
You don't have anything tucked away, hidden, no narcotics or anything like that?
No, I'm sorry.
Right.
This incident highlights the dangers of staying in a toxic, violent relationship. Both parties need to prioritize their safety and well-being by separating immediately. Domestic violence, whether physical or emotional, rarely resolves without intervention, and the couple's history of mutual injuries suggests a pattern that could escalate further. Seeking professional help, such as counseling or therapy, is critical to address underlying issues like anger, substance use, or mental health challenges. The woman should comply with legal proceedings, seek legal counsel, and consider resources like domestic violence shelters or support groups. Brian, too, should reflect on his role in the dynamic and avoid retaliatory behavior, as mutual aggression only worsens outcomes. Both must recognize that love does not justify harm and that separation may be the only path to safety. For anyone in a similar situation, contact local authorities or organizations like the National Domestic Violence Hotline, 1-800-799-7233 for immediate assistance. Document injuries, keep records of incidents, and avoid retaliating as it complicates legal accountability. Prioritizing personal safety and mental health is paramount.
He's good to go.
Alright, man, you should be good to get going. You can get in your car, drive home, alright?
The woman was charged with domestic violence under Ohio Revised Code, ORC 2919.25, which states, "No person shall knowingly cause or attempt to cause physical harm to a family or household member." Her actions, including grabbing the wheel and striking Brian, meet the criteria for knowingly causing physical harm, as evidenced by his bloody nose and her admission to physical contact. Additionally, her behavior could be considered reckless conduct under ORC 2901.22 as C, quote, as grabbing the wheel while the car was moving endangered both their lives. These charges reflect the severity of her actions as determined by the police based on the evidence and inconsistent statements. On September 6, 2024, a routine traffic stop escalated into a tense confrontation in a small town. Officers pulled over a vehicle due to a broken headlight and expired license plates. Minor infractions that typically warrant a simple citation. The situation involved a male driver and a female passenger whose interactions with the police quickly spiraled into a heated dispute.
So, I mess with it.
I don't have to give you that.
The encounter began calmly, with the officer explaining the reason for the stop: a faulty headlight and expired plates. The driver acknowledged the issues, claiming ignorance about the expired plates and explaining the headlight flickered intermittently. However, the female passenger immediately adopted a confrontational stance, refusing to provide identification or comply with the officer's requests. She repeatedly asserted, "I don't have to provide nothing," insisting she was merely a passenger and not obligated to cooperate. Her tone grew increasingly belligerent as she demanded the officers call their sergeant, claiming they were violating her right.
I know. I just found out that shit's expired, which I just found out I didn't know. I'm doing nothing wrong. I don't have to provide nothing.
Okay, miss.
Arrest me, arrest me, arrest me, arrest me. Don't arrest me.
The passenger's refusal to provide basic information, such as her name, complicated the officer's ability to issue a citation for not wearing a seatbelt, a standard requirement in most states. As the officers pressed for compliance, she escalated further, shouting, "Arrest me then," while maintaining she had done nothing wrong. Her behavior became disruptive, marked by profanity and accusations of police overreach, such as, "You have no right to search my vehicle," despite no search being conducted at that point.
I do not have to provide nothing. I'm in violation of nothing. I'm doing nothing wrong, bro. I'm just the passenger.
The situation intensified when the officers noticed something in her shirt, raising concerns about potential concealed items. She refused to clarify or cooperate, repeatedly denying consent to any search and demanding the sergeant's presence. Her defiance culminated in the officers informing her she was under arrest for non-compliance. Even then, she resisted, refusing to exit the vehicle and complaining about the officer's physical contact, particularly from a female officer she called ignorant. She insisted on dealing only with a male officer, further delaying the process.
My vehicle. No, call your sergeant. Call your sergeant.
I do not.
Call your sergeant. Call your sergeant. Call your sergeant. No, call your sergeant.
After prolonged back and forth, the passenger reluctantly agreed to exit the vehicle. Once the female officer released her grip, though she continued to protest, claiming the handcuffs were too tight and causing discomfort. The officers adjusted the cuffs and assured her the booking process would be brief, potentially less than 2 hours if she cooperated. Despite her earlier defiance, she eventually complied, though not without further complaints and accusations of unfair treatment.
No consent to search. No consent to search.
Can you please step out
Nope.
of the vehicle?
Nope. I cannot. No consent to
Miss,
search.
at this point, you are under arrest, so step out
No,
of the
I'm not.
vehicle.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. Nope. No consent to search. No consent to search.
This incident highlights the importance of maintaining composure and cooperation during interactions with law enforcement, even when you believe your rights are being challenged. While it's critical to understand your legal protections, such as the right to refuse certain searches without a warrant, escalating a routine stop into a confrontation often leads to avoidable consequences. If you feel your rights are being violated, calmly request to speak with a supervisor or sergeant, as the passenger initially did, but avoid aggressive language or refusal to provide basic information like identification, which can be legally required in many jurisdictions. Documenting the interaction, as the passenger suggested with "keep on recording," can be a useful tool for accountability, but it should be done respectfully to avoid escalating tensions. If arrested, comply with basic instructions to avoid additional charges, and address grievances through legal channels later, such as consulting an attorney or filing a complaint. Staying calm and informed can prevent minor encounters from turning into serious legal issues.
Thank you. That's all I wanted. That's all I wanted. That's all I wanted. Thank you. That's all I fucking wanted.
The woman was charged with disorderly conduct and resisting arrest. Disorderly conduct under statutes like 18 U.S.C. section 5104E2 in federal law or similar state laws, e.g. NY Penal Law section 240.20, involves engaging in tumultuous or threatening behavior that disturbs public peace, such as her loud, profane outbursts and refusal to comply. Resisting arrest, often codified under state laws, like Cal. Penal Code Section 148A1 or Fel A. Stat. Section 843.02, occurs when an individual willfully obstructs or opposes an officer's lawful duties, as seen in her refusal to exit the vehicle and physical resistance to being detained. These charges reflect her disruptive behavior and non-compliance during a lawful traffic stop. In October 2023, a Columbia County sergeant in Lewiston, Wisconsin, conducted a traffic stop after observing a vehicle with registration plates expired since 2018. The driver, a 44-year-old woman named Tara, exhibited suspicious behavior during the stop. The sergeant noted her nervousness, visible pulse pounding in her neck, and an odor of intoxicants emanating from the vehicle. Tara claimed she had just purchased the vehicle that day, explaining the expired plates, but the title lacked a signature or date, rendering it invalid. Numerous items covered with blankets were observed in the vehicle, raising further suspicion.
Well, like I said, again, I just bought it.
Where are you guys coming from this evening?
We had to make a stop in Portage, drop some stuff off for the boss, and now we're just heading home and that.
Okay. All right. Are you close and able to step out here?
Yeah,
You couldn't get the front or the rear plate off? Okay.
As the sergeant questioned Tara, she admitted to consuming alcohol earlier and smoking marijuana the previous day. Her erratic movements inside the vehicle, including shuffling items and reaching into her hoodie pocket, heightened the sergeant's concerns about possible contraband. Despite her denials, her passenger, Robert, hinted at her drug use, mentioning she smoked crack and likely had a crack pipe. Tara's refusal to consent to a vehicle search, combined with her continued movements, led to her being asked to step out of the vehicle.
Okay, so what was all the moving around?
I told you we were looking for my IDs.
Okay.
I swear to God.
Okay.
Because I have
There's someone else in there? Yeah, there he is. Will you talk to him? Just place your hands here and face my car for me, okay? While I check your driver's licenses and stuff. All right? You understand?
During the interaction, Tara repeatedly resisted commands, placing her hands in her pockets despite warnings. This resistance escalated, resulting in the sergeant decentralizing her to the ground to gain control. After detaining her, the sergeant discovered Tara attempting to destroy evidence in the back of the squad car, where a bag of suspected drugs had spilled. Tests later confirmed 3.1 grams of fentanyl and 6.3 grams of crack cocaine among the substances. Tara's continued resistance during a second search led to another decentralization. She admitted to trying to eat the drugs to avoid detection, potentially exposing the sergeant and his canine partner, Riley, to dangerous substances like fentanyl.
Literally bought the truck today.
So what you're saying is if there's anything in here, it's possibly from the prior owner?
It could be, but as far as I know, everything is good.
Okay, what in here belongs to you?
I don't drink at all.
Okay, so I don't need to grab it. I'm just asking you, what in here is yours?
In here in mine?
Yes.
Probably just the soda.
Just that soda. Nothing else in here belongs to you?
Nothing else in here belongs to me.
At the hospital, Tara reluctantly consented to a blood draw after initially refusing, citing confusion about the process. Her combative behavior persisted, including complaints about tight handcuffs and accusations of mistreatment, though the sergeant maintained she was resisting lawful commands. The vehicle search uncovered syringe caps and other drug paraphernalia, further implicating Tara.
She was drinking today, and she also admits that she smoked marijuana. Whose truck is this?
I know she does drink every once in a while, but it's not. She don't do it when she's driving.
Okay, why do you still have his plates on there then?
Because I couldn't get them off.
She does it when she's home, and she smokes weed when she's at the house.
Okay. My lieutenant just asked about marijuana use, and you said neither one of you smoke.
I don't smoke. He didn't ask me about her.
Is there any marijuana or illegal
No.
substance in the car?
No.
You realize that you're not allowed to have those plates because they don't belong to you. They belong to him.
I do understand that. I do understand that. Like I said, I just bought the vehicle.
I'll be back with you in a few minutes, but I want you to keep...
Tara's case highlights the severe consequences of driving under the influence and possessing illegal substances, compounded by resisting law enforcement. For individuals struggling with addiction, seeking professional help through rehabilitation programs or support groups like Narcotics Anonymous can be a critical step toward recovery. Honesty with law enforcement during encounters can mitigate additional charges, as resistance often escalates legal consequences. Consulting a legal professional immediately after an arrest is essential to navigate charges and ensure fair treatment. For those facing expired registration or vehicle title issues, promptly addressing these with the DMV can prevent initial stops that uncover other violations. Finally, understanding implied consent laws in Wisconsin, which require drivers to submit to chemical tests when suspected of OWI, can help avoid further penalties like license revocation.
Stop resisting. Open your hand. Put your hand back. Stop resisting. Stop resisting.
Tara faced felony charges of possession of cocaine, second offense, under Wisconsin Stat. Section 961.413GC, which prohibits possession of controlled substances and possession of narcotic drugs under Wisconsin Stat. Section 961.413GAM. Misdemeanor charges included 2 counts of resisting obstructing an officer under Wisconsin Stat. Section 946.411, reflecting her repeated failure to comply with commands and physical resistance, and possession of drug paraphernalia under Wisconsin Stat. Section 961.5731. She also received citations for operating while intoxicated, OWI, first offense outside 10 years, under Wisconsin Stat. Section 346.631A, and other traffic violations totaling over $1,300 in fines. These charges reflect the seriousness of her actions, particularly given the potential danger posed by fentanyl to officers and the K-9 unit.
Welcome to Speed Bodycam channel, where we share police bodycam footage. We are a dedicated team focused on creating educational and engaging content about law enforcement. Using AI and advanced technology combined with editing skill, we carefully craft our own authentic videos. Our editing team worked hard to highlight the emotional and real-life challenge officers face every day. Through impactful storytelling, we bring this story to life and share important lessons to raise awareness about the need to respect and comply with law enforcement. Please note that the content we present is not intended to promote or glorify violence, nor to condemn any individual or organization. We share this video for educational purposes, reporting and encouraging compliance with law and law enforcement in your area. Additionally, our bodycam footage is edited for brevity and to comply with YouTube's community guidelines, focusing on journalistic integrity while bringing both entertainment and meaningful lessons. We appreciate YouTube for providing a wonderful platform to reach viewers and share valuable content worldwide. Our audience support is a huge motivation for us to continue producing meaningful content every day, and it means so much to us. Thank you for being a part of the Speed Bodycam community.
That's all for today's episode. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give us a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and share your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.